All right,
All right.
perfect.
So we're with Amber today, and she is a student at UCSB. So,
Mhm.
um, let's start first a little bit with your college app process in general. So, when you were in senior year in high school, right? Did you know
Mhm.
your major? Were you like sure about what you wanted to go in, or did you have some colleges you were most interested in, or like in general, how was the process for you? Because it can be a little bit stressful for some, and then some people are kind of breeze through it pretty easily. So, what were
Yeah,
some
of course.
challenges that you faced? Hmm?
Yeah, so for the major, I knew I wanted to go into business. So it's either like marketing, finance, operations management, anything related to that. I was interested in that like in the beginning of high school, but I didn't know exactly what area of focus I wanted to go into. So that like when I was applying for colleges, I wasn't really sure about that. So a lot of like the majors I applied were either like finance or marketing. And of course, like when you go to college, there's always an opportunity to change your major. So that's not too big of a deal. And then so I started working on my college applications around like the summer right before senior year, so around like June-ish. And then so that's when I started writing the essays and like filling out the application. And I think the biggest challenge is writing the essay, of course, because you don't really know like what's the best way of expressing yourself in a way and like how you can convey who you are as a person and your values with the prompts that they give you. So, and like thinking of ideas of what to write is always the biggest challenge. And but um I think once you are able to figure out the idea of what you want to write, after that it becomes a lot smoother and just like polishing the essays. And I think the most important thing just like write about who you are rather than um like fake it in a way or try to pretend to be someone else because at the end of the day you're applying to a college that's the best fit for you. So you want to be able to like you want a college to be able to see who you are as a person and see if you're a good fit for them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I want to mention, I think so your current major is related to neuroscience, right?
I'm accounting. I'm econ.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I
Yeah,
missed
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That would have been a switch up or something. Okay.
Yeah, no
So but
worries.
so I think your interests maybe you kind of shifted a little bit, right?
Mhm.
As time went on. So was that did you switch your major or did you apply as an accounting major initially?
Yeah, so I applied as an econ accounting major because well, UCSB doesn't have a specific like marketing major. In high school, I did a lot of marketing, like extracurriculars. I was like marketing director of like multiple like student organizations and all that. But it wasn't really until like senior year or like at the very end of high school where I did get some like finance or accounting like experience where I was like, oh, this is actually really interesting. And then so even like right now, to be honest, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but there's like there's so many like classes I can take. I can always like do a lot of activities. So if even if it's like finance or marketing, I still have a lot of time to figure that out, which I think is really nice. But I think I think applying as econ accounting is wasn't too bad. Like if they did have marketing, I would have applied as marketing, but there's always opportunities to switch around.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear that there are so many like opportunities for people to for themselves. And so let's talk a little bit about like the technical stuff. So
Mhm.
do you mind sharing your stats like GPA, your SAT or ACT scores, rank if your school did that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I for my GPA, I had a 4.36 weighted. So like that counts the APs and then a 4.0 unweighted. And then I did not take the SAT, I took the ACT. I got a 34 and um we didn't have ranks in my school, so I'm not entirely sure what that would be.
And did you take any AP classes?
Yeah, so I took I think 10 AP classes. Do you want me to list it out or is that
Sure if you want, yeah.
yeah, so I mean I took AP Bio and AP Chinese my sophomore year. And then junior year, I took AP Lang, AP Physics, A Push, and the other one? Oh, AP Calculus BC. And then my senior year, I took AP Stats, AP Lit, AP Gov, and AP Psych. Yeah,
Wow, yeah, that's very impressive. Out of
thank you.
all the AP classes that you've taken, which one would you say is the most useful for you right now?
Most useful, honestly, well, I say the top two is AP Lang, AP Language and Composition, and AP Psych. With AP Lang, my like in the beginning of high school, my writing was like not good at all. I was like, I did not my even my like grammar was really bad, and like I did not know how to argue or any of that. But through like AP Lang, even though it was really hard for me, like I learned so much, and like you could use writing everywhere, so it's really nice. And with AP Psych, it was like a really fun class, and I just use it like daily use, like, oh, I recognize that or whatnot, like what type of psych term that is. So that was really fun.
Yeah, yeah. And what about your extracurriculars or any activities that you did in or outside of school?
Yeah, so well, at least my most important ones was that I was a marketing director of Digitize, which was like a student-run nonprofit. It was like a global nonprofit where it was like spreading computer science learning programs across the globe. So I was the marketing director of that. So I focused on like making ads and like running. Also, I also oversaw like the other executive operations such as like cold emails and reaching out to like schools about our program and whatnot. And then same thing, I was also the marketing director of NanoSeed, which is also a student-run nonprofit. That's you like collect donations and then we use those donations to help people in rural China, help the families because if they're going through like poverty or anything, hopefully we can help them with the donations. And so I like ran a branch in my school. So I ran fundraisers at my school, but I also helped other branches in other schools run their own fundraisers by like making flyers for them, making promotions. I also helped manage a little bit of like the money flow and any operations. And I was also part of my school's robotics team as a business member. I jumped between operations, marketing, finance, but so I got like an exposure to all areas of that. But yeah, that was like I did a lot of like internal organization events, and then I wrote newsletters, cold emails, and like again, social media, that was a huge one. And I also was really into music in high school. I played the oboe and I had played for like 7 years. And so I was a part of my school's band and like our music honor society. I was a fundraising secretary. And I would say those were like my most important extracurriculars that really stood out in my application.
Yeah, wow. All of these sound like really great activities. Yeah. And what about any outstanding awards, right, or experiences or accolades that you think played an important role in your application?
Yeah, I did not have that many awards. Like, I mean, I was in like AP Scholar because I took a lot of AP tests and I was in my school's honor roll, but I didn't really seek out to get a lot, like any certifications or like competitions and whatnot. I think for me, when it came to my application and what I wrote in my essay, my experiences were mainly through my extracurriculars, like also with like me playing music and the oboe because I had played it for so long. I had I had like developed a lot of skills that I used like life skills in a way that I shared a lot in my application. And also like working as a marketing director, like working as a team, that was a huge proponent of my essays where I talked a lot of how I learned to like work with other people and how I've used my skills and what the skills I learned from there to like make a contribution to my community. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a lot of the time actual like real world skills have like a higher value than I don't know, a trophy or something, right?
Yeah. And
Um
also like I wrote about like my identity as well. I think that was also really important, especially as like minority, Asian American. Like I wrote like well this was for my Common App, which like did not it wasn't my UC application, but I wrote about like how it was growing up as a Chinese American and like how like my identity through that like impacted how like my personality or like how I solve problems and whatnot. So I think um that I think that was honestly more important to me than like um writing about my extracurriculars because that was a lot more personal. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, very interesting to hear. So, you would say your essays focus more on your identity, right?
Yeah.
Than rather say accomplishments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And what about your letters of recommendation?
Oh, right. So for my letters of rec, I got it from two teachers. So it was my AP Lang teacher that I really liked, and then my pre-calc teacher who I was really close to. I had him write my letters of rec. So like the process of like going about asking letters of recommendation is I just like emailed them. It's like you want to email the teachers that like you're really close to already because then they can write really good things about you. And of course that's what you want. And then so a lot of teachers they would like fill out they would send a form to you about like a lot of questions, which is like what'd you learn from my class and like what's like a really like pivotal experience you had in my class that I can talk about and whatnot. And like once you fill out the form, like they'll write like a really good essay about you. But you wanna contact them really early, like even probably like end of junior year, because a lot of teachers like max out on letters of rec and then they get too stressed out and stuff. So you wanna go fast, yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. And kind of in retrospect, what would you say it would be like the most significant part of your application? So, what would you say is um the detail, right, or the part that got you in, if you were to pick just one?
I would say it was my extracurriculars because I put a lot of effort into those. And honestly, I don't this may come off as a little bit pretentious, but probably my GPA. I also worked really hard for my GPA and I know looking through like the common data sets of like UC schools and stuff, GPA is really important to them. So that was also a big part of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. GPA is always, I think, it plays
Yeah.
a quite large role.
Honestly, it's kind of unfortunate that it's like that. Like academics can be like really stressful, and sometimes you're even taking classes that you like don't even like. And then, but yeah, a lot of schools do put a lot of emphasis on like academics, so that's
Yeah,
a big one.
yeah, absolutely. And did you apply to any other colleges other than UCSB? And
Yeah,
why, out of all those, did you choose your school?
yeah. So I applied to like all the UCs, of course, because it's all one application, and then I applied to like UW, UIUC, Cornell, and USC, and all those schools. And then I think at the very end, I was debating between UIUC and UCSB. One big part about like UCSB is that it's near home, and I really wanted to stay in California and be close to family. And then another one is that UCSB is like really research focused. Like there's a lot of research opportunities here. So I wasn't sure if that's something I wanted to get into and but like knowing that there's such a great opportunity here, I definitely wanted to like check it out. And then I think the another main reason why I came here was because of the major system. So like at UCSB, a lot of majors are like two areas of subject. Like for example, me, I'm econ and accounting. There's like if you want to major in psychology, there's like psych and brain science. So the fact that like each major has like multiple areas of study and you could take like many different type of classes for like your specific major, it just there's a lot of more learning opportunity and you just like it just seemed really nice to be able to not only like focus on like one area like subject area like being able to like look into other things as well.
Yeah, that does sound really cool. So you, it's not like I know some schools, I think you're restricted, right, in terms of your major, right? Or I think some schools it's very hard, right? Once you declare a major to change it, or it's a
Yeah.
difficult process. Would you say
Hmm.
you should be not like that, right? There's more
um
flexibility, or
yeah, well, I mean within like the College of Letter Science, which is like the bulk of all the majors, it's really easy to just like switch majors or like you still have a lot of time to figure out what you really want to do or like what classes you want to take. And then um I mean it's a little different when it comes to like trying to become like a psych major to like a computer science major because computer science is a different like college. But other than that, because letters and science is such a big college, like it's really easy to go between um majors for that one.
Yeah. And what would you say is your favorite thing about UCSB and least
My
favorite?
favorite thing, honestly, it's for me, it's like the little things. I really love the sunsets here. I didn't realize, especially coming from like the Bay Area, like you don't get that many sunset opportunities, but literally every single day around like, well, now it's like 5 p.m. when like the sun's about to set. It's super pretty and the sky is like sometimes it's like purple, sometimes it's orange, and like walking back to my dorm or back home from class, it's just so pretty and so peaceful. And it's like always the highlight of my day. It's so nice.
Yeah, wow, that sounds amazing. And alternatively, what is your least favorite thing about UCSB?
Like academics wise?
I don't know, just
Or
anything that you would want to see improve in the future.
oh, improve for UCSB?
Yeah.
Um, let me think about it. I think um when it comes to like extracurriculars, there's not that many like opportunities when it's like sports or like for example like our dance. Like I really wanted to get into dance, but because our dance teams here, we don't have that many dance teams and like um it's really hard to get into like the dance program if you don't already have like dance experience. So it's like we don't I when it comes to like those like dance sports or like certain extracurriculars, there's not that many clubs and whatnot. So there could be a little bit more opportunities for those, but I think that also like comes down to the individual person and how you make use of what you have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think we're almost at the end actually of our questions. So just one final thing. If you could give a current senior a single piece of advice, what would it be?
For like college application.
Yeah.
Mm, I would say it's like mm, do a lot of self-reflecting. I think sometimes when it comes to college applications, people try to portray themselves as like this like a different identity or like someone that they think the college would like. When in reality, in my opinion, I feel like you should focus more on like knowing who you are and knowing like what you've done and how you've shown who you are through either could it could be like extracurriculars, but it could honestly be like daily life things. And I think, yeah, like don't try to be someone who you're not. And also, I guess another tip is like don't stress out too much. I got super stressed when it came to college applications, and I kind of regret that because like when you're stressed out, it could be like hard to think about like who you are as a person and whatnot. So, yeah, don't stress out too much. Everything's gonna be okay, and just focus focus on yourself and know who you are as a person.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, thank you for all your responses and yeah, I hope this was useful. Thank
Yeah, of
you.
course.